What's up, Cats fans? Paul here from the Hoops crew, and it's Nuff of the Week time. And this week, and I'm kind of surprised that I'm doing this because I have a lot of love for all things Gold Coast Suns. And as is often discussed, it was discussed even as recently as in post-game live this weekend. I want to see them succeed. But I also want to slap around the Gold Coast Suns supporter base this weekend because you're a bunch of nuffies. You're a bunch of morons, and it was incredibly disrespectful what you did this weekend. Now, as many people know, at the end of last season, Dimmer Hardwick stepped in to become the coach of the Gold Coast Suns. Sorry, but who did he take over from? Well, that was Stuart Dew. Now, let me be clear. As a Geelong fan, I don't have the greatest level of love for Stuart Dew. The 2008 grand final still cuts me to my core. It hurts. It hurts so deeply still. I was there and traumatized by it. 19-year-old Paul is still a little bit rattled and shaken by what happened in 2008. But that aside, what happened this weekend really, really irked me in terms of how Gold Coast fans treated their former coach. Because these days, he works for the Brisbane Football Club. He's an assistant coach there. He was in the box this weekend. Of course, we had the Q clash between both Gold Coast and Brisbane. Finally, the stranglehold that Gold Coast had over People First Stadium has been broken. People were questioning whether Brisbane was going to get the job done because Gold Coast hadn't lost there. But of course, Brisbane had a better chance than any other team. They had to drive 30 minutes up the road to play them. There was some stupid arguments. Brisbane, the informed team of the competition, I would say, wanted up to the Gold Coast, got the job done. But it was with about a minute or two to go where the cameras flicked over to the coach's box. We saw Stuart Dew appear on camera. And what happened there was that a bunch of Gold Coast fans, and I'd imagine all 10 of them that attended the game, because of course the supporter base is pretty small still, and those who were left at that particular point because they'd clearly lost at this particular point in time. And I'm sure some made for their cars, and there's no judgment there if you want to leave early the game because you got appointments to go to, family to meet, you want to beat the traffic, whatever the rationale happens to be, you do you. I'm never going to sit here and begrudge you for it. I'd always endeavor to stay to the end of every game, but I totally understand if you need to go early. But with a minute to go, this happened. And I'm going to be really mindful of audio here because I do not want us to get copyright struck. But I'm going to play a little snapshot as we go. So bear with me. Headphones are going on. We'll share the screen a little bit here. And we'll mute the audio. And great. That wasn't a great start. So we can see ball gets spoiled. Great, no worries. Typical footballing act. The game's over at this particular point in time, and then we see the camera. Booze. Who does that? Let's please, and it probably, honestly, it just shows the lack of education that we have with supporters of the Gold Coast Suns, and potentially a similar sort of thing that we might see for the Giants, because they're two teams in non-AFL states, traditional AFL states, non-traditional AFL states. They're newer teams. They've got younger supporter bases, but also this was like 12 months of history, and it was absolutely insane to me that the coach who your club pushed out of the door, he didn't volunteer to leave. He was pushed out the door. He's getting booed by your supporter base. This guy threw everything he had at the club. And he copped a lot of heat because his winning percentage, I checked it before, it was about 29%. Also the most successful coach that Gold Coast had ever up until that particular point in time. But his winning record was 29%. So we understand why the club looked to change things over. And since Dimmer's come through, the club has a winning record for the first time ever up to this particular point in time. We'll see how things end up. At this point in time, I should probably double check that. I think it might have been some old data there. But what is the Gold Coast win-loss ratio at this particular point in time? They are sitting on a... Yeah, okay, so they're back to a losing record now. 9 wins, 10 losses. But it's absolutely insane to me that you would be booing this guy. He has given your club so much. He has done so much. He's tried so hard. And let's please not lose sight of the fact that for as brilliant of a coach as Dimmer Hardwick is, that playing list was built by Stuart Dew and his team, mostly. And so a lot of the credit must be given to him. And I'm sure, I'm sure Damien Hardwick was sitting up in the box and probably shaking his head. The cameras didn't pan over to him, but I hope he was shaking his head at this conduct, because it's tone deaf by the supporter base. It's just incredibly stupid behavior, disrespectful behavior, and it just shows a lack of education. It shows a lack of smarts. I get that you're losing, and when it comes to kind of crosstown rivals, whether it's a Q clash, whether it's a battle of the bridge, whether it's derbies, whatever you want to call them, that the stakes are higher, and you're more inclined to just throw some trash talk at your opponent supporter base, your opposing supporter base. But this wasn't it. This was not it at any point, and it drives me mad. Like, this sort of behavior drives me insane, because it's just. Again, it's so uneducated. I'm okay with banter being thrown around. I'm okay with throwing shade at Essendon supporters because they haven't won a final in 20 years. Geelong was the one that started the drought. It makes me feel so good to toss that at the Bombers. I can, have a dig at them for drug scandals, and of course they can go, well, hang on, what was proven? Like, you can have fun with it. We can talk about dog supporters because they've only won. Like, sure, they just beat us last week, but then when they have a clap at me, I go, well, yeah, but also you've won 2 premierships in the last 50 years. Like, you've got. And there's ammunition. It's fun. It's stupid. There's things you can throw at the Brisbane Lions. There's things you can throw at the Gold Coast Suns. There's always ammo. But this isn't it. It's just not how you treat a former coach of your club, especially one who didn't do a Ross Lyon. He didn't just up and leave your club at some point like he did for St Kilda to go to Freo. He was, and to, I guess, cycle in on Ross again. It's not like he was then responsible for. I don't get it. Like, there's obviously some reporting about Dimmer and how early it was determined that maybe he was going to come across. We don't know if that's confirmed. It's not as obvious as what we saw with Ross Lyon returning to St Kilda and coaches falling on the sword there to allow his return. This was none of that. And again, this is the guy that fell on the sword. He did nothing wrong. He was giving his all for your club. And he clearly loves it up north. That's why he just went across to the cross-team rival. He didn't, oh, that's it, I'm packing up tools and going back to Victoria, I'm going to South Australia, or whatever it is. He stayed up there. And he's clearly a valuable asset to the Brisbane Lions Football Club. And you sit there and you boo him. It's just shit. It's shit behavior. And Stuart Dew doesn't deserve that. And I say that as a Cats fan again, who is still smarting from 2008. This guy doesn't deserve that. So I hope, if you happen to be a Gold Coast supporter that's watching this, and if you happen to be one that booed Stuart Dew on the weekend, I hope you feel like a nuffy. Because you are. You're a dead set moron. And you need to learn a little bit of respect. That's it for Nuff of the Week this week. Hopefully, look, there were some contenders. I really, really was tempted to go back to the well and have a crack at Carlton for the Harry Mackay treatment and the doctors there, some of the decision-making around them. But this really stuck in my craw this week, and I feel like I needed to go for it. So cop that, Gold Coast fans. All 10 of you are probably feeling that sting right now, and you're damn straight you should. All right. That joke. That came back to bite us with when Ben pulled it against GWS and they smacked us at home. All right. That's where we'll wrap things up for Nuff of the Week this week. Check out all the awesome content on the Hoops crew, whether it's match reviews, reactions, the Chap Shack Cats, post-game live, behind the play. We've got a huge archive of episodes to go check out there. Go check out all of my interviews with heaps of cool players on the men's side, the women's side, off-field figures, supporters. There's heaps of cool stuff on Behind the Play. Go check that out as well. We're on Patreon. Go check out the Patreon. You'll see that in the show notes, where you can sign up. You can get 7 days of free access to everything we have there on the Patreon. See if it's for you, and then consider sticking around for the cost of $5 or $6 a month. The cost of a single coffee for the entire month is all it takes for you to get access to all that content. So consider checking it all out. On socials, you can find me at Paul James Games, but of course, check out the Hoops crew on social media as well. That's it for this episode of Nuff of the Week. Gold Coast fans, I hope you have a bit of a heart-to-heart with yourself and, find a way to make this better next time you play. Thanks a lot for watching. Remain Geelong strong, and I'll see you later.